You might be asking yourself, why would I ever want to make clarified butter? And that's a very good question. Let me tell you why. Number one, clarified butter, what you do is you cook the butter down. You're going to get rid of all the milk solids, and we're separating just the butter fat from the solids. And because we're doing that, you can cook it at a much higher temperature than you would be able to just plain butter. Where butter would burn, clarified butter can maintain that higher heat without burning. So you can cook things that you would normally use different oils for and have the buttery taste. And if you're paleo like me and you are doing a Whole30, clarified butter is the only form of dairy you can use. So maybe you want to know how to do this. Let me show you. Here is what you need. You need grass-fed butter. Why? Because it's just better. Don't ask too many questions. I like Kerrygold. It's about $4 to $5 for this 8-ounce segment. I'm going to use 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. You need a fine mesh strainer, a little funnel, something to put your ghee in when you're done. I like a slotted spoon to skim the solids off. I also use this little mesh strainer while I'm skimming off the solids. And you need a pan to cook your butter in. Okay, so I've got 24 ounces of grass-fed butter, and I'm gonna cook it on about medium heat. If you do it too hot too fast, you'll really burn it, and we don't want to do that. We just kind of want to let it melt slowly, but you do want it to come to a simmer. This is about 3 minutes in, and I haven't done anything to it. You just let it sit, and as you can see, it's beginning to simmer, and some of the solids are rising to the top. Eventually, some of the other solids will burn off and sink to the bottom. So what we're going to do is twofold process. We're going to skim some of these solids off the top, and then we're going to strain what's in the bottom when we put our clarified butter into the container. So 2 things, we'll skim and we'll strain. This is about 5 minutes simmering time so far, and you notice that there's a lot of solids coming to the top. I'm going to start skimming them off. A lot of foam and solids have come to the top, so what I'm going to start doing is I use the slotted spoon. It's kind of a tedious process, and I just think it's kind of fun. That's why I like to do it. But honestly, you could wait until the end and just scoop a lot of it off then, but it gives me something to do. Smells like a movie theater. Popcorn. So this is about 8 minutes in, and I've skimmed a lot of the foam off the top, and as you can see, it's still not clear. That's what we're looking for. It's still got a cloudy, milky color. After a while, the denser solids will kind of burn off and sink to the bottom. The foam will come to the top, and then we will set it to the side and let it cool. So this process takes a while. Sometimes it can take about 30 minutes. And if you don't have a lot of other things to do, you can get a little bit bored. So here are some suggestions of things you can do while you wait for your butter to melt. You can drink kombucha and pretend it's beer. If you're doing Whole30, you've probably already done that before. You can dance with your dog. You can learn to juggle golf balls. So this is about done. I've gotten almost all of the foam off the top, so we're going to take it off the heat now. Now that it's done rendering, we're going to just let it sit and cool down for a few minutes before we strain it into our jar. Okay, so I have let the clarified butter sit and cool down for about 10 minutes. And now I'm going to take the fine mesh strainer, place it over a bowl, and just slowly pour it through. I'm going to let it sit and cool in this bowl for just a few more minutes. It's pretty cool to the touch, but before I put it into my container, I want to make sure that it's really cool. I have a terrible habit of exploding glass because of excessive heat, and I don't want to do that. So it's cooled down a little bit more. Now I'm just going to take the bowl, I always spill some here, pour it through the funnel. Perfect. There you have it, clarified butter. So when it becomes room temperature, it will solidify a little bit more, and you just scoop it out, put it in your hot pan, and use it as needed. You can also keep it in your refrigerator and it'll last for about a month.